What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to
another episode of Paving the Way. Might help if I put the microphone in front of my face before I get started. I was just so excited to get this recording, and you probably could barely hear me at the beginning. But nonetheless, like I said, Daniel Wright, you're here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. I'm happy to have you here as always, and I am looking forward to the topic I'm going to be chatting on today. Do what you love what you do. Probably not going to be exactly what you're thinking of the cliche topic of, find a job you love and you never work a day in your life, blah, 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 all the happy stories that we're told when we're kids that just aren't quite reality. But I can tell you from experience that if you do find some things that you love to do and you love doing them and you enjoy it all around, so on and so forth, it does make life a little bit more enjoyable. So before I keep rambling too much and getting too far off track, we're just going to go ahead and get this thing started. All right, guys, welcome back. And let's hope that the bulk of this podcast goes better than that intro that I just had. That was a little bit ridiculous. But nonetheless, like I said, guys, I'm looking forward to talking to you about what I've got on my mind today. Coming off of our company meeting that we held last Wednesday, so about a week ago from the time you're listening to this. And I just wanted to kind of reflect on that a little bit and pass along more or less the experience that I'm having right now at this point in time in my business. So the backstory to this, they wanted me to title this one, Do What You Love and Love What You Do. Backstory to this that I've got is last Wednesday we had our monthly company meeting. We do a monthly meeting once a month where we get everybody in one room together, kind of just go, more or less go around the room. If anybody has any updates, whether it's personal or professional, we just kind of, you get the floor for whatever you want to talk about, ask any questions. Provide any status updates from your department, whatever it might be. But nonetheless, it just gives us a dedicated opportunity on a monthly basis to get everybody in one room together. Because of the pace in which we've been running the last year or two, it's hard to find that time. And so I made it a point about 2 years ago to dedicate once a month. We're going to put everybody in the same room and just make sure we're all on the same page and maintaining alignment. But nonetheless, last week, I kind of went around the room and asked everybody with the intention of going a little bit deeper. More or less, I asked everyone, I said, what do you do at our company and why does it matter? And it was on the back end of me telling the story or the parable about the brick masons, right? You've probably heard the story before, but it's I'll Cliff Note version it. There was a guy walking down a road along a big construction site, and he saw a whole bunch of brick masons working on a project. And so he asked the first brick mason, he said, hey, what are you doing? And the first guy said, well, I'm a brick mason. I'm cutting bricks and stacking them. And he said, okay, well, have a good day. Then he got to walking, just out of curiosity, asked the next guy, hey, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm working on building a big wall. I'm a brick mason, and we're building a massive wall to go around this property here. He said, oh, that's interesting. So asked two of the same people, or two of the people doing the same job, what they do, and got two different answers. So why not ask a third? He asked the third guy that he came to, and he said, hey, man, what are you doing? He said, I'm building the greatest cathedral that this world will ever see. And so it was the point all about the perspective and the vision in which the people were operating and working towards what they were doing. The first guy had just a job in front of him. The last guy was helping build, the greatest thing in the world. And so I'm sure that you could probably agree that the last guy, the guy who believes that he is building the greatest, cathedral that this world will ever see, by being a brick mason and putting the parts of the wall together around this facility, I'm sure that he was taking a ton more pride in what he was doing. I'm sure that he was more ambitious to learn and to grow and to just continue progressing through his skills, his trade that he was doing as a brick mason. But I asked that question to our team after telling them this parable. I said, what is it that you do and why does it matter? And we got various different answers from the individuals around our organization, right? From the operations team to the things that they do and how it helps, progress the business along. from our administrative team, to making sure that we're giving off a great customer experience right from the time they call us and all the interactions they have. Media and marketing, making sure that, people know who we are and what we do and showcasing our work to the world. But nonetheless, the next step that I took during this company meeting was asking everyone, really diving into the why does it matter side. I asked everyone off the top of their head, without going too deep into the family trees, of if this business wasn't here, if you didn't have this job providing for you, how many people would be affected because of it? Really indicating more like family members or individuals that they're responsible for taking care of. Some people it's just themselves and they don't have anyone that they're responsible for. Other people, they've got families and children and spouses or parents that they help provide for. And just in the room alone that we have in our company, we had well over at least 30 to 40 individuals, I believe, and that's on the low end, if I recall, at least 30 to 40 individuals that this company, this small little thing we call a business that we call Proline, that provides for, that makes sure that they eat, that makes sure that they have food, and make sure that they've got clothes, that they go to school, they can take vacations, they have a roof over their head, experiences to call their own and lives to enjoy. And I tell you guys, when I was talking about this and I gave my answer of what do I do and why does it matter, I'll be transparent with you. It brought me to tears in front of every person in that meeting. And I try not to do that often. It happens about once or twice a year, typically at the annual Christmas party, that the emotions kind of get overwhelming. But this time it was special. A lot of times, as most leaders do, most of us who are in a leadership position, we try our best to maintain a solid, steady, unmovable character in front of everybody, right? But I'll tell you, there's times where no matter how solid and steady and masculine or macho or whatever you want to call it, no matter how bad you want to be that, the emotions are just going to take over. The gratitude, the disbelief that you're getting to do something that you only ever dreamed of for the majority of your life. And when I told everybody that what I get to do is I come to work to make sure all of you guys have the opportunity for success. And that's why what I do matters. And that thing right there is what took me to tears, because I told everybody there that I'm getting to live out my dream of building something that matters to everybody in the room, that matters to all the people that they said that this place supports. It matters to the vendors that we interact with, the clients that we get to serve, the people who are listening to this podcast, because I wouldn't be doing this right now if we didn't have a business to build, our lives on and feel like I had something to share with the world. I get to build something that matters. And when I say, do what you love and love what you do, I can tell you right now, I'm not in love with asphalt and concrete. I don't dream about pavement. I don't dream about seal coating and striping and putting signage up and ADA accessibility requirements. I don't dream about that. I don't love it. But the people and the impact and the opportunity that we get to have is what I love. And so when I say do what you love and love what you do, ever since I was a little kid, I've loved helping people. I've loved jumping in to try and help whenever I can. Now, I'm not the person who you're always going to see volunteering every Saturday morning or, signing up for this, little league coach or, feeding people at the homeless shelter in the holidays. I have nothing against any of that. That's just not what I've typically been called to do when it comes to helping people. But I've always loved helping. And one of the things that I've seen over the years in my industry is the opportunity to help the people in this industry build the lives that they dream of. But if my dream's not big enough to encompass their dreams for their lives, then I'm selling them short. And so to get to be able to be at a point in my business, it'll be 9 years this year that I've been in this, in the seat of being responsible for this company, to be in my position that I'm in and seeing people get engaged, seeing people have children, seeing people buy cars, seeing people pay off debt, seeing people put their kids through college, seeing people be able to start second careers and provide for their families, take vacations, fly their kids in, whatever it may be. I'm seeing firsthand how what we're working to do here at this company is building the opportunities for all the people involved to build the life they dream of. And I think the big part about this, guys, is, and I've alluded to this a little bit, and I try not to dwell on it too much, but 2024 was one of the toughest years of my life. Absolute toughest years. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it was one of the toughest years of my life. And it was rooted in business problems, right? We didn't start off the year we thought. We were selling different work. We were learning how to manage people, how to build a team, how to, margins and cash flow and all sorts of things that I had no idea how to do it. And there was times where the only reason that I didn't give up, that I didn't quit, that I didn't throw in the towel and say, all right, world, you won. You chewed me up and you spit me out, just like you do with most business owners. The only reasons that I didn't do that is because the moment that I wanted to quit and say, yep, I'm just going to go ahead and call it good here, I would see a Facebook memory pop up of a company outing that we did. Or I would be walking through the office and we have shelves in the front of our office that have everybody on our team's pictures on them. Some goofy pictures, some work pictures, whatever it is. We've got pictures of every person here that this place supports. Or that I'd go home and I'd talk to Kelsey and she'd say, oh yeah, we'd like to go to, a birthday party for our niece or our nephew or something like that. And we got to figure out how to get there, right? We need a business. We need income to do that. And so it was the people that kept me going. And so to be at this point a year later of having this company meeting that I was referring to at the beginning of this chat here, to be a year later and being in the midst of a year that is better than I ever would have imagined last year, it brought me to tears. Because the people that I kept showing up for last year because they counted on me, they're still here this year. They dug and they clawed and they fought their way through the fight every day with me last year. They're doing it again this year, except we're fighting different battles, right? We're fighting and figuring out how to keep up, how to manage logistics and, schedules and people's lives and things like that. It's a whole different battle that we're fighting this year, but they're still here side by side with me, fighting the fight. All so that we can build something to give all these individuals an opportunity to build their dreams and to build their lives the way they've always wanted to. And so my challenge for you is this. Ask yourself, do you love what you're doing and why you're doing it? Because if you don't, I can promise you, you're selling yourself short. You're selling the people around you short. You're selling the people who count on you short because you're not invested enough into it. It doesn't matter enough to you. So sure, we can't all just stop what we're doing, quit our jobs and go chase our dreams and our passions. I get all that. But nonetheless, it's asking yourself, do you really have to be in love with the things that you do every day, right? The keys that you're typing, the phone calls that you're making, the reports that you're creating, the work that you're doing. Do you have to be in love with that every day? Or could you be in love with the vision of why you're doing it and why it matters? Because ultimately, the jobs come and go. The tasks and responsibilities change. Things evolve. Things, become outdated. You don't have to do those anymore. You pick up new skills and new, abilities that you end up doing. So all the things come and go, but the why you're doing it oftentimes doesn't really change. And so that's my challenge for you, is to ask yourself, are you that invested into it that when you have the opportunity to tell the people around you why you're doing what you do and why it matters, that it brings you to tears of gratitude, tears of disbelief, and tears of just pure authenticity that you're getting to live the life that you've always dreamed of. I hope that you can experience that. I hope that you get to have that moment of realization that you're getting to live this life because you designed it. So guys, as always, I appreciate you tuning in this week. And as I've been reminding you, if you want to follow along on this journey that I keep talking about that we call Proline, feel free to check out the YouTube channels, the social media channels, everything like that. Randy busts his butt every week, every day to be putting out content for you guys to be able to follow along on this journey and see what kind of impact and what kind of things that we're accomplishing here as a team. So as always, guys, I appreciate you. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'll be jumping on another Q&A here before too long, so send them in. Have a good one.